All right, everybody, I am getting your video ready for the work for next week. So next week's work is going to look a little bit different. You are going to have 3 small assignments. So they will come out all on the 26th. So I'll put them all out Sunday so that you know exactly what you have to do. And then they'll all be due by the end of the week. I think we'll do the quiz on the Monday. So what do they look like? You are going to have a slideshow presentation and then notes that each of you have to complete that go with the slideshow. So fill in the blank, kind of like we do in class. How is this going to be marked? They're going to be each worth 2 marks just to keep it easy for me. It'll be whether you've completed it, whether you've partially completed it, or whether you've fully completed it. So not super hard, an easy way to get some marks for the biology unit. So each of them looks the same. Slideshow, document that you have to fill in, slideshow, document that you have to fill in, same rubric all the way along. Okay, so Monday, Tuesday, I've also added the tab resize extension for Chrome. I think I've talked to you guys about this before, but I'm going to quickly show it again just because it's going to make this a lot easier. So tab resize, you go into the Chrome store. I've given you the direct link to it. Most of you should have this by now. If you do, it'll say remove from Chrome. Don't get rid of it. It's right there. If you don't, just add it to Chrome. So make sure you've got that. The reason why, it's going to make it easier to do this assignment. So if you come in, this is the first 2 days work. I've just downloaded these already. This is the next days. This is the third days. So the best thing to do is click on the one that you want to have on the left of your screen and the one that you want to have on the right area of your screen. Leave it sort of in the background. And then come to the tab resize. We want the slideshow on the left. You have to click out to get rid of that part. And I want the worksheet that I have to fill in on the right. So day 1 is looking at an introduction to ecology. So you are going to get some terminology with some definitions. You're going to learn about abiotic and biotic factors that are in an ecosystem, as well as what species are, what communities are, and what a niche is. So what you're going to do, if you have open on the left, you've got define the following terms. So environment, all the living. So over on your worksheet, all the living and non-living things on Earth and their interactions. What is a sustainable environment? You're going to go through the same thing. Biodiversity, same thing. So you're just getting used to what some of the terms are. This one doesn't have any videos, but some of them will. So you're going to go in, fill all these in using the work or the information in your slideshow. When you're done filling this in, you are going to submit that to me. So that's as easy as it is for day 1. You're going to read, get used to some new terms with regards to ecology. You're going to fill out your worksheet, and then you're going to submit it to me. You will notice that some of these terms may already be familiar to you because of the 3 assignments that we started with. So most of the time, those assignments would have come near the end of a unit. However, we put them at the start because of the transition into learning online. And it kind of made it a bit easier and manageable to have one task at a time instead of having 3 things that you have to do in a week. So that's all you have to do for learning at home number 1. When you are then ready, maybe you do 1 a day. You're going to go to the learning at home 2, same thing. Open up your slideshow, open up your Google Doc. I've done the same thing here. If I want my slideshow to come up on the left, I'm going to click on here. Then I'm going to go to my tab resize. I'm going to make sure the sheet I want on the right of the screen is to the right. And I'm going to open that. And then we've got some other terms. So in day 2, you're looking at the biosphere and biomes. So you're going to be learning a little bit about atmosphere, the lithosphere, and the hydrosphere. As well, there's going to be some information about the world's biomes and Canada's biomes specifically. So you'll notice that in the image that I have, it calls this one the mountain forest. However, we also know that as the temperate coniferous forest. So you are going to fill in the blanks by going through your note and getting used to some of this new terminology for biology. There's a little video for you to watch, and then you're going to complete the Canadian biome sheet. So that is down here at the bottom. So what you're going to do, description from the slideshow of the deciduous forest. Because you've got it all digitally, it's going to make this fairly easy. You remember that to highlight something, if you want to highlight and copy it over, it's Control C. And then if you want to paste the description over, it's Control V. If you want to make this look a little more even, you can adjust your size of your font as well. Okay, so that's day 2, learning a little bit about Canadian biomes, some of the characteristics of them, where they are specifically in Canada, as well as learning about the atmosphere, lithosphere, and hydrosphere. Okay, so let's take a look at what is expected for day 3 next week. So day 3, again, similar format. You've got your slideshow, you've got your note. If you want your slideshow to open on the left, you're going to click on it, and then to the right, you're going to have the Google Doc. You could slide these back and forth. I think I've mentioned that before, but just make sure that you click on it to have it the pronounced one. Okay, so then we're going to use our tab resize. We're going to click out, and we are going to learn a little bit about energy in ecosystems. So a lot of this is familiar, and it also is stuff that we talked about in the Silence of the Frogs assignment. So energy in ecosystems. I've adjusted this a little bit just to make it easier for online. This one, you actually have to find a copy of a food chain online. And you're going to try to find one that has certain labels. So what a producer is, what a consumer is, what a primary consumer is, what a secondary consumer, tertiary consumer, herbivore, and carnivore. You should be familiar with at least some of these terms from the Silence of the Frogs assignment. So then you're going to paste the image that you get down below. So you could just come over here and go, oh, I guess actually we probably want a food. Well, let's do food chains first. We might end up grabbing a food web. So let's go to images, and let's go to food chain. I'm going to put producer just as a keyword so that we have an example. So here's a really nice one that has some of those terms, and that's pretty quick to come up. So we've got the producer, which is the grass. What does that mean? It takes energy from the sun and converts it into usable energy. So those are our producers. A primary consumer is the first thing that eats the producer. If you're a consumer, it means that you cannot create energy yourself. So you need to either eat plants or eat another animal in order to get your energy. Where a producer can produce its own energy through converting the sun's light into usable energy. So this one has a ton of the terms, actually. Does it have all of them? Yeah, there's a perfect example. Except you would know that this primary producer is a herbivore as well. Anything that eats an animal would be a carnivore. So you could put that down below. So you could copy and paste this one over, copy the image, paste it down below, and you've completed the first part. So let's go back over here. There is a video for you to watch. There is some information about a food chain. So ignore this. This is done over here. What else have we got? Oh, okay. So think about omnivores, scavengers, decomposers, and you can add those in as well. So let's go over here using examples from the food chain above in the slideshow. So you might be able to pull some of these examples off the food chain that you've grabbed here, but also from your slideshow, let's fill this out. So we need to know what the role is. Role, another word for role, is kind of like their job, right? So an omnivore, what does it do? It's an organism that consumes both plants and animals. Decomposer is a consumer of dead matter, returning nutrients to the soil. Detrivore is a consumer of organic matter and compost. And scavenger, carnivore that eats the remains of dead animals. So you may have to look up some of these terms to get an example. I bet you if we did define a scavenger, would it give us an example? Oh, no, it's not going to. Let's try explore. See if we can get an example to pop up. Yeah, so animals that consume dead matter. Have we got examples? You should be able to, from exploring, be able to pull up some examples. So here's some examples of scavengers. Not too hard to pull up. So it talks about the different types of scavengers. So again, to do that, you highlighted the word, and you could try defining it first. Sometimes they'll pull up an example when you define. But if it's not under there, go to explore, and you should be able to find out some good information about scavengers, but also be able to locate some examples. Or you could just come over to the web and go examples of scavengers, and you could get a bunch of different examples that are going to pop up right away. Okay, so pretty easy to do that. Examples of right, fairly quick, easy to pull up those examples. Examples of a decomposer. Again, you can pull it up fairly quickly. So you're going to have to do a little bit of research because we're not in class talking about these things. Okay, so let's look at the next part of the assignment. As you scroll down, you are going to, what are you going to do? Find a final copy of a food web that has the following. So it's going to have 3 plants, 4 primary consumers, 3 secondary consumers, 1 tertiary consumer, and 1 detrivore. So you should be able to grab these. Let's have a look. We'll go over to our notes. So let's go back over. Let's put this in. Sometimes it's kind of amazing when you do something like that, how much information will come up with the more specifics that you provide. So this isn't a bad example because you do have all the primary consumers. So the first ones to eat the producers, lots of secondary consumers, some tertiary consumers. Here's another example as well. So you need to find me what you think is a good example. You're going to find lots of these up online. Oh, here's a good one. Yeah, see, there's a really nice one. It doesn't have all the labels, but you could put the labels on. Oh, no, it does, down the bottom. So that would be perfect. Okay, so you're going to paste your image below. You might find 1 or 2. That's okay. Then we're going to use the slideshow to figure out some information about energy flow. So you're going to fill in the blanks just like you've done before, and then you're done. So probably the third assignment is going to take you the most amount of time for the week. So just kind of keep that in mind. A lot of these terms will be familiar to you from earlier years in science, which is why it's kind of a good one. Which is why I kind of started with this instead of the electricity. So get all three of those posted into me, and then I will put up a video that talks about the ecology quiz. But basically everything covered in these three will be the materials that are going to be on the quiz, and the quiz will happen probably the following week. So you're looking at this sort of the week of the April 27th, and then the start of the next week will be the following. Okay,